The scout ship drifted silently through the dark space between star systems. Commander stood at the central console, his four eyes scanning the empty void displayed on the main screen. His crew of 12 worked quietly at their stations. They had been patrolling this sector for 3 standard cycles without finding anything interesting. The Empire controlled over 2,000 star systems. They were ancient. They were powerful. They had conquered dozens of species over millions of years. Their technology was so advanced that most younger races could not even understand it. Had served in the Imperial fleet for over 200 years. He had seen civilizations rise and fall. Nothing surprised him anymore. Or so he thought. The first warning came from the sensor officer, a young named. His voice carried confusion and something else. Fear. Commander, I am detecting something unusual at the edge of our scanning range. Walked over to the sensor station. What kind of unusual? A ship? An asteroid? Shook his head slowly. His hands moved across the console trying to get a clearer reading. I cannot tell, Commander. The readings make no sense. It appears to be multiple contacts, perhaps hundreds, perhaps thousands. The sensors cannot count them properly. Felt a strange sensation in his stomach. In 200 years, he had never heard a sensor officer say such words. Sensors could track individual particles across half a light year. They could identify the exact composition of a ship from its energy signature. They did not fail. Run a diagnostic on the sensor array, ordered. Already done, Commander. The sensors are functioning perfectly. The problem is not with our equipment. The problem is with what we are detecting. The main screen flickered. The image changed from empty space to something that made every crew member stop working. Every eye on the bridge turned to look. Every breath stopped. Ships, hundreds of ships. No, thousands of ships. They filled the screen like stars in a nebula. They were arranged in perfect formations, moving as one massive entity through space. The largest vessels were bigger than anything the Empire had ever built. The smallest were still larger than the scout ship. What species? Asked. His voice came out as a whisper. Worked frantically at his console. Unknown, Commander, the database has no match. Wait, I am getting clearer readings now. The ships appear to be. They are. The console in front of exploded in a shower of sparks. He jumped back, screaming. All across the bridge, lights began to flicker. Alarms started blaring from every direction. What is happening? Shouted. The communications officer yelled back over the noise. Commander, we are receiving transmissions from the fleet. Thousands of transmissions, all at once, on every frequency. Our systems cannot process them all. Rushed to the communications station. The screen there was filled with scrolling data, moving so fast it was impossible to read. Characters in an unknown language appeared and disappeared faster than the eye could follow. Turn off the receivers, block the transmissions. I cannot, Commander. The signals are everywhere. They are in wavelengths we have never encountered. Some of them are not even proper electromagnetic waves. I do not understand what I am seeing. The engineering officer's station was the next to fail. Then the navigation console. One by one, the systems of the scout ship began to overload and shut down. The ancient technology, built over millions of years and tested against countless enemies, was failing. Grabbed the edge of his command chair to steady himself. The ship shook as power fluctuations ran through the hull. Emergency lights replaced the main lighting, casting everything in a dim red glow. Can anyone identify the source species? He demanded. The science officer managed to stabilize her console for a moment. Her hands trembled as she read the data. Commander, the ships are broadcasting identification signals. They call themselves humans. They are from a planet called Earth. Earth? I have never heard of it. What sector? Sector 779. The Outer Rim Territories. Commander, according to our records, that sector was supposed to be empty. We surveyed it 10,000 years ago. There was nothing there but primitive life forms. Felt a chill run through his body. 10,000 years is a very long time. Not for a species to develop technology like this. Commander, look at the energy readings from their ships. Each of those large vessels is producing more power than our entire home star. That is impossible. Our physics says that is impossible. The main screen was now displaying the human fleet in clearer detail. Studied the ships carefully. They were not beautiful like vessels. They had no elegant curves or artistic designs. They were angular and harsh, built for purpose rather than appearance. They looked dangerous. They looked like weapons. The communication officer shouted again. "Commander, we are being hailed. They want to speak with us." "Put it through." Static filled the audio systems. Then a voice came through. It spoke in perfect language with no accent and no hesitation. "Scout vessel, this is Admiral of the United Earth Navy. Please do not be alarmed. We mean you no harm. We are simply passing through this sector." Struggled to respond. The bridge was falling apart around him. Half his crew was trying to put out electrical fires while the other half fought to keep the systems running. "Human vessel, I am commander of the Imperial Fleet. Your transmissions are damaging our ship. Please reduce your signal strength." There was a pause. When the voice returned, it sounded confused. "Reduce our signal strength? Commander, we are already broadcasting at our minimum setting. We turned down our system specifically because we detected your vessel. We did not want to overwhelm you." Felt his heart sink. Minimum setting. This was their minimum. The humans had noticed a scout ship and decided to be gentle, and still their gentle signals were tearing his ship apart. "Admiral, how is it that you speak our language?" "We intercepted your communications about 300 of your years ago, Commander. We have been listening to the Empire ever since. We know quite a lot about you, your history, your politics, your technology. We found it all very interesting." 300 years. That is not possible. We would have detected your listening devices. The human laughed. It was a strange sound, neither aggressive nor friendly. "Commander, you did not even detect our fleet until we were right on top of you, and we were not trying to hide. Imagine what we could do if we were trying." More systems failed on the bridge. The life support controls began flashing warning lights. They had perhaps an hour before the air recyclers shut down completely. "Admiral, I must ask you to leave this sector. You are trespassing in space." "With respect, Commander, we do not recognize claims to this space. We do not recognize anyone's claims to space. Space is free for all beings to travel. But please do not worry. We are not here to fight. We are explorers. We are simply mapping this region before we continue our journey." "Journey, where are you going?" Another pause. When the human spoke again, thought he could hear a smile in the voice. "Everywhere, Commander. We are going everywhere. The universe is large and we have been alone for too long. We want to see what is out there. We want to meet new species. We want to learn new things. Is that not what all intelligent beings want?" Looked around at his dying ship. His crew was scared. They had never faced anything they could not fight or run from. But this was different. This was a force so far beyond them that fighting would be meaningless and running would be pointless. "Admiral, how did your species advance so quickly? How did you go from primitive life to this in only 10,000 years?" The human's answer was simple. "We had help from ourselves, Commander. Every generation of humans taught the next. Every mistake we made, we learned from. Every war we fought, we studied. Every disaster we survived, we remembered. We never stopped improving. We never stopped growing. We never stopped dreaming of the stars." The communication channel crackled with static. The human fleet was moving now, sliding past the scout ship like a school of giant fish moving past a tiny insect. "Commander, I recommend that you contact your government. Tell them that humanity has arrived. Tell them that we come in peace, but we will not be stopped. Tell them that the galaxy is about to change. and tell them that they should not be afraid. The universe is large enough for everyone. We did not come to conquer. We came to join the family of intelligent beings, but we will stand as equals, not as subjects, never as subjects. The communication ended. The human fleet continued past, each ship's passing causing minor damage to the scout vessel. It took 2 hours for the fleet to move completely through the sector. 2 hours of ships larger than moons sliding silently through space. When they were finally gone, collapsed into his command chair, his ship was barely functional. Half his crew was injured from exploding consoles. The sensor array was completely destroyed. The communication system was burned out beyond repair. But they were alive. The humans could have destroyed them with a thought. Instead, they had talked. They had introduced themselves. They had said hello. Understood now why the Empire had never encountered humans before. It was not because humans were hiding. It was because humans had been waiting. Waiting until they were ready. Waiting until they were strong enough. Now they were ready. Now they were here. And nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. Ordered his crew to begin repairs. They needed to get home. They needed to deliver this message. The Empire needed to know that after millions of years of being the most powerful species in the galaxy, they were now the second most powerful. Maybe even the third, or the fourth. Because if humans could do this in 10,000 years, what else was out there? What other species were watching from the shadows, waiting for their moment? The universe had suddenly become a much larger and more frightening place, but also realized a more exciting one. The humans wanted to explore. They wanted to learn. They wanted to meet new friends. Perhaps, he thought, that was not such a terrible thing. Perhaps the galaxy needed to wake up. Perhaps it needed to remember that the universe was full of mysteries and wonders. Perhaps it needed humanity. Only time would tell, but had a feeling that time was about to move very, very fast.